a bit under siege when we came off air yesterday from Wolves fans. They're the latest set of supporters, Simon, to take up the picket line against price hikes on season tickets. Petitions, protests. I mean, some would say this is no more than a knee-jerk reaction from a loud minority, but it's a pretty big minority and it's getting bigger. A petition against season ticket increases at Wolverhampton Wanderers has now passed 11,000 signatures. Many more are signing it as we broadcast this news this morning. All in all, 7 different supporters groups have got together and they've got in touch with the owner, Jeff Shee, and said, no, enough's enough. We're not having it. The cheapest covered Premier League season tickets in the Midlands are as follows. Leicester come in with the cheapest at £404. Nottingham Forest, £550. Aston Villa, £640. And Wolves come in at £735. There is an uncovered section at Wolves, which comes in at £525. Presumably you pay that, but you've got a good chance of getting sold. I mean, where are we going with this? Should there be a league-wide directive, Simon, to solve this situation regarding ticketing in the country? We've got it in water bills, so we've got a price cap in water bills. You know what you're paying and you know what you're not paying.
Yeah, but water's a necessity. This is a luxury.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a capitalist
world.
It's
their club, right? It's the fans.
Should it not be regulated?
Sure, I'm sure that's an argument some people would like to make. I do have empathy with the cost implications of football. But Wolves lost £50 million last year. It's their fans' football club, because we're regularly told as just custodians. My money when I was the owner of Crystal Palace, or these guys' money when they're owner of Wolves, of course belongs to the football club, not me anymore. And so I'm just a custodian. So what's the problem? The money's going into the club to buy better players.
But they sold £200 million worth of players.
Sure. Okay, and how many have they bought over the years?
Not many.
They've sold £200 million worth of players to comply with financial fair play. And as a result of it, they've got a manager to come in and do something very rare, which is coach. And so they've got someone to do his job. And so with that in mind, I find the balance between saying to football fans, and I used to do it at fans forums, is this your club or is my club? It's our club. You're the custodian. Okay, so then you won't mind me raising your season ticket prices and redirecting all that money back into supporting your club. Oh, no, it's your club then, because you do that. Well, hang on. It's your club. You've told me. So your financial contribution is valued. Your financial contribution to the outcome that you want is valuable, and it all costs money. So with that in mind, all the money that we get from this is not going into my pocket. I'm not profiting from it. We're getting better players, better facilities, and a better environment for you as fans to watch a team performing in the Premier League, and that costs money.
But isn't it ultimately, I know this sounds a bit cynical, because I agree with you, I've got sympathy, but it's supply and demand. If they can't sell the tickets at a certain price, then they wouldn't put them there.
Well, I mean, to be quite honest, you look at it though, why should Wolves fans be paying for a covered Premier League season ticket, £735, which is all of £330 more than Leicester fans?
Because Leicester were a Championship side when that price came out. And
but they're paying more than Villa as well.
And the argument's Villa. The argument with Villa. Forest have been out of the side of the Premier League for God knows how long, so they're just re-establishing themselves back in there. Leicester are coming up from the Championship. There's different dynamics for different football clubs. And I would understand this if everyone was getting fat off this calf, if the owners were trousering a big bag of money and were subsequently so profitable that it was beyond the realms of reasonable behaviour to levy some of the cost implications of a football club on the people that tell you that they own it.
Well, let's find out from the fans themselves, because at the moment, most fans have seen a 17% jump on what they were paying, and some children's tickets have risen by over 100%. That cannot be right, but it is. Michael's a Wolves fan who wants to come on and join us, and we're delighted to have you, Michael. What do you want to say in this? Good morning.
Good morning. Hello. I'd like to repeat what you just said, but a little bit more granularity.
Yeah.
The worst part of this season ticket price increases at Molineux are the fact that under 14s have been their season ticket prices have more than doubled, and wheelchair users. Why on earth anybody wants to focus on that particular group, I don't know. Their season ticket prices have more than doubled.
More than doubled.
Can I just ask you from what to what, Michael?
It's important. Well, hello, Simon. I'm sorry, I can't give you those figures because the club hasn't published the figures. Ordinarily, the club publishes a table of seating arrangements. You can see where the best seats are, see where the most expensive seats are. They've not published the table of seats this time. So we get all our information from actual fans who've posted their previous season ticket price and their current season ticket price on social media. and they're talking about price rises of 130 to 170% across those two groups. And it seems to me it's a punitive pricing policy to target kids and disabled with enormous price increases when there's already a cost of living crisis. There's already difficulty in cost of living. But outside of that, concentrating purely on Wolves, they sold, as Jim said, they sold £200 million worth of players. In amongst those £200 million worth of players was Ruben Neves, and after the sale, 47 million quid, we were told we didn't need to sell him for FFP or profit and sustainability rules. We didn't need to do it for that purpose.
Yeah.
And what is happening is not what Simon says is a generality, which is you pay more, you get better players, you become a better team. What is happening at Molineux is we've sold our best players, we're buying lesser players, and the board have told us to lower our expectations. We've got to still sell to buy. So against that backdrop, we're all going to pay 17% more. Personally, I don't have a problem with paying my 17% because I'm on a pensioner concession. So I've got a reasonable price to pay. But other people who've had, I'm speaking up on behalf of the other people, the kids, the under-14s and the wheelchair users, it's absolutely scandalous to more than double their prices.
Michael, your chairman, Jeff Shee, says this revenue is the key difference between us and the biggest clubs that we have to compete with in the Premier League. It's essential for us to grow over time. So in other words, Michael, he's saying there, no, we've got to do this. And these have to be the prices because we need the revenue to allow us to compete and get on the same kind of footing as the top clubs.
Well, Jeff's talking rubbish as usual. If he would like to come onto your show or on any platform and quantify the revenue he'll get from the under-14 increases and the wheelchair user increases, I'll bet you it will not add up to 1 week's wages for any player.
You may well be right. But, I mean, insofar as what you're suggesting, and I'm not trying to fall into the owners' union because I was once one, but I try to give balance. If you've lost 45 million in 21-22, if you've lost 45 million in 22-23, which is what Wolves have currently lost, you've lost 90 million. You're sailing close to the FFP guidelines. So there might well be a reality behind an investment structure which has been very good for Wolves. This football club has been very heavily invested in by Fosen and whoever else is involved in it to get it to a point where it's now an almost established Premier League club where for a very, very long time it was anything but that. So nothing goes on forever, does it?
No, but what we have to look at in the backdrop of the losses is, and it's a bitter pill to swallow. Yeah. We lost out in an FA Cup quarter final against Coventry. We hadn't got any strikers. Our front three were injured. And our side was decimated by the loss of just 4 players, while at the same time we'd got over £100 million worth of strikers out on loan at other clubs. And we've got 23 players out on loan. And we've got some spending that's carried out by Jeff Shee when he decided to take over the transfer kitty and when he decided to take over who he bought, famously Fabio Silva for 35 million quid. Yeah. He's the chief architect of those losses. So for him to come out and tell us that he needs more money from the fans is it's a bit two-faced, I think.
Well, I mean, you've got a point in that some of the players you used to watch, Ruben Neves, 47 million to Al Hilal. Even Diogo Jota, I think he went for 40 or 45 million. You've got a point that some of the players you enjoyed watching have gone for big money. Michael, thanks for that. Ross is another Wolves fan. It seems Wolves seems to be the story coming through here, but that's by the by. Ross, tell us what your grievance is.
Oh, my grievance is that the fact that my son's season ticket is 12 years old has gone from £105 to £245.
That's a lot, Simon, isn't it? That is a big jump, isn't it? Is it too big for the likes of Ross to cope with?
It is, and I don't want to be. I don't want to appear to be flippant about the cost implications of it. But when you're paying £5 a game, which is ostensibly what you're paying, there is a balance between what's realistic and what's unrealistic. And the numbers will evade me because it doesn't feel like if you've got 5,000 at the top end, you've got 5,000 concessions, and you're putting a couple of £100 on each one. You're not generating that much money. You're creating more adverse publicity than you're generating money.
But it's more than double what he was paying. Do you think it's value for money, £245, Ross?
It's not so much value for money at the moment. No, because after the Coventry game, that was our season done. Went downhill. You know, we've got a bench that's full of, you know, we have 15, 16, 17-year-olds on there. There's no, you know, oh yeah, he could come and change a game. But on that projection of the price increase, by the time my son hits 18, his season ticket is going to be £1,000. What 18-year-old, realistically, even in today, can afford that? When
I understand the slippery slope mentality, but if you were told at the beginning, I mean, when we break it down, and I'm not trying to be flippant with the cost implications of life, but if you can go and find something of a quality of the Premier League for £12 a game in any other walk of life, if you try to watch any other sport for £12 a game,
you pay that cinema.
You pay that to go to the cinema. And sit in basic seats. So you're paying £12 to go and watch under the new pricing regime. You were paying £6 under the old pricing regime for a 14-year-old kid. I mean, we do have to get some context.
Yeah, we do. So, you know, last season Aston Villa had a big hike. They did, okay? And they've been rewarded by that. A great season, got to the Champions League. But we're getting rid of players. We're not investing in players. We signed a couple of freebies. You don't mind paying more money as long as there's justification to it. But nothing's coming from the club to say, they're saying, oh, we might sign a striker. The chance are we'll probably get one on a free.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, Ross. Thank you for that. I mean, right across the spectrum, 17% increase, it would seem, and many supporters of many clubs are saying, no, enough's enough. There's got to be some kind of cap on this.
How many increases have they had over the last? Okay, if you pared that back, like we had this argument about Tottenham Hotspur and how they'd increased the prices by 6%, and everyone was outraged. But they hadn't raised the prices for 5 years. So if they'd have raised the price by 1% every year, no one would say anything.
But when you look at Wolves' fan base, 11,000 signatures are on this petition already, and it's increasing every day. I've got Wolves fans sending in messages. I'm about to sign it. I will sign it today. I mean, let us know, because is this something that you're fed up with? Of course, you know what we're going to hit you with. It's your choice. You know, if you want to go to the game, that's what you got to pay.
Well, I think his last
if you
point
don't want to go,
if it
you
is,
don't.
And his point is fair, but the reality is Wolverhampton Wanderers have no God-given right to be in the Premier League, and there are plenty of clubs that are equally as sizable as Wolverhampton Wanderers that aren't in the Premier League. So they do have to remember what their ownership model has done to keep them in the Premier League.
Right across the board, though, football fans in general, do you think you're getting value for money?
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.